Alright, I just did a video a second ago doing a debrief, and I wish I'd waited to do this, but I was thinking about one of the problems I had that I talked about in the other video, and actually thought of a solution. Went down to the local paintball shop, and was happy to see that they had this. We're going to talk about the remote line, and a new part I just added to the gun. Not very expensive, but I'll get into that. I want to give two disclaimers before I start this first. We're going to be dealing with the CO2 tank, and I was just dealing with the CO2 tank, not with this, but with another part, actually the S Thunder CO2 valve, and I had somehow messed up and broken the O-ring upon attaching this, and the tank purged all its gas. And I want everybody to understand something, that if you've never seen a tank purge its gas, I have done it many, many times. I used to be a professional paintball salesman and technician, worked for a company. I've seen it happen millions of times. I know the protocol. You want to put the tank down, don't touch it, don't let anybody near it, because the thing will freeze instantly, and it'll freeze so cold it'll burn and take your skin right off. So, it happened to me by accident. It was no biggie. It purged a lot of gas. It thankfully didn't purge all the gas. I was able to actually get the valve off before it went too crazy, but it did get cold. Luckily I had a glove on, and he was using wrenches and stuff. But that is a disclaimer that I'm going to show you all this stuff, but I want you to understand what I tell you right here. Do not try at home, alright? Take to a professional and let them do it. Don't be like me and just do it yourself, because it can result in some really bad things. And if you had the same problem I had, but your tank was strapped to your back in the middle of play, you would have received really bad injuries, and I don't want to get into how ugly that would have been. So just take my word for it. I'm going to give you this advice, but don't try this at home. So anyways, another thing I wanted to give a real quick disclaimer. I got this valve, and I want to talk about it in a second, but it's a really helpful valve, and if at the end of the video you think you really want this valve for your gun because you have a remote line already, and you want to attach this, I'm going to tell you right now, just buy a whole new remote line with this pre-installed. It was a monster to get this thing on here, and I've probably ruined this forever, and I'll never be able to take this off, and next time I'll have to get a new remote line. So just spring for the $50, get the whole remote line replaced with this valve. Don't just buy the valve. It was just a nightmare. It's cheaper to get the valve, but it was terrible to get it on, and yeah. So anyways, what is this? Well, the biggest problem I had when I was playing yesterday was that the remote line was running to my gun, and even though I had a sling to hold the gun on, after a certain point in time, my back was killing me. I really wanted to put the gun down. But anybody who has had a remote line knows they usually have this, what did I do with that thing? Male to female connector. Maybe I threw it away. That when you hook it into the gun, what you've got to do is you've got to plug it into the gun. You've got to turn after you've plugged it in the gun, you have to turn this little knob to push the pin on the CO2. That releases gas into the hose and into the gun. When you want to take it off, you have to unscrew this first so that no more gas is feeding, and then you have to purge the gas that's in the hose, either by firing the gun, or if you pull it off real quick, you'll get a pretty strong burst. However, if you pull it off first and you haven't untightened this enough, you will get a spray of gas, and anybody who's worked with remote lines knows that, and then the tank will freeze, like I mentioned earlier. So you really don't want to do that. It's a really dangerous thing. When you get that spurt of gas, you're wasting gas, everything like that. So it's a common practice that once you got the remote line on, you kind of want to leave it on until you're done playing, and that can be really annoying, especially when you have a 20-pound gun. I know this thing's not fully assembled right now, but yeah. So this is new-ish. I don't actually know when they came out with this, but I just started seeing this recently. This is a valve from, I don't know what company. Honestly, this is all the packaging it came in. It's nothing. No idea who makes this. But it has something interesting about it. your CO2 has a pin that you push down, and that opens the valve and opens the gas up. So that's when you screw it into something, it doesn't open up until it's fully screwed in, or until you turn a knob like this and push the pin down. This has one also in the tip of the valve, and then you get this new connector piece, unlike the one I used to have, that has a pin on it right here. It's a really narrow piece. And actually I like this one. This is a lot more solid than my other one was. And so what happens is, instead of doing the male-female slide-in remote, I really wish I knew what the heck I did with that thing. Instead of doing that, you get this, and you get that burst. Here, when you slide it on, and you have to push the button to get the last little bit, it pushes the pin, now releasing the gas from the hose into the gun. Why is that a good thing? Because now, when you unhook it, it releases the pin, and you no longer get gas spurting out of here in a frozen tank. So basically what that means is, now you can go in the field, fill up your tank, put this on, screw this tight, and this does have gas in it, trust me. And any other time you would ever do this, if you ever see anybody with a remote line, they would tell you, never ever do this, never do this, never have the hose right here, not connected to the gun, and then turn this, because what you'll get is a huge spray of gas out of here, and the tank will freeze and all that. But just for the sake of experimentation, we're going to show you real quick. I'm twisting, I'm twisting, I'm twisting. Oh, you saw the coil filled with gas, but look at that, nothing. So what do? Take this, put it in the valve, and click. Nothing happened. No spurt, no nothing. So is it working? Well, the gun's cocked, so we're going to find out. Whoa! It is working. So now I'm going to leave this depressed, and once again, anybody who's ever worked with a remote line but never seen one of these will tell you, never do this. It's about the same burst of gas you would get from, oh yeah, gun's decocked. Same burst of gas you would have gotten if you had unscrewed this first, but nothing's there. The hose is still full of gas, so you do have to release that, and the way you do that is just unscrewing this, and you'll get a quick little, you can feel the hose let loose, but that's not the tank, that's just the hose. Everything's good and golden, and alright. So if you're going to get a gun and put a remote line on it, and it's going to be 15, 20 pounds like my gun is, look for these. I'll post a little notice on the bottom right here. I don't know what it says, but it sure is going to tell you who made this thing, or at least a place to find it. And yeah, that's that. So really going to be a lot easier to play with this now that I can actually be on the field in a place where you need to keep your masks on, or the gun's still full of paintballs, or any of that stuff where you can't just release the gas out slowly. This is still mounted to my back, and I can't take my pack off, so I can't reach around and unscrew it. Now I can just leave it there, pop that off, get that little burst of gas is the worst I'm going to get, and put my gun down while I wait for the next round. And it's going to make my life a lot easier. So, yep, I'll tell you what. Hopefully that information showed you where you can get those, and I strongly recommend it. And so, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the future.